Pirates. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? A stereotypical image of a guy with a flamboyant beard, wearing a captain's hat, swinging a heavy sword, and burying treasure? Or maybe just lawless bandits roaming the seas? You might picture them with an eye patch, but what if I told you? You might not really know pirates at all. In this video, I'm going to explain 8 fascinating facts about the real pirates of history. First is the pirate eye patch. When a pirate wore an eye patch, first reason, a real injury. Pirates often suffered eye injuries from close combat, scurvy, or foreign object infections. And the second reason is the key. It was a night vision combat tactic. One eye was always adapted to the dark. When nighttime or going below decks, switch it and gain instant night vision and gain the ability to fight in the dark. Pirate flag. Pirate flags were more than just skull and bones. They were a sophisticated messaging system. Think of them as psychological warfare tools. A black flag meant surrender and live, while a red flag signaled no mercy, prepare to die. Famous pirates like Blackbeard even had custom flags. His showed an hourglass, meaning your time's running out, and a stabbed heart, meaning prepare to die. Essentially, these were the most terrifying memes in history, designed to scare targets into surrendering without a fight. Pirates of democracy? Pirates were actually quite democratic, and not as savage and lawless as we imagine. They would vote to elect their captain, and if the captain performed poorly, he could be removed. They also voted on which ships to attack, or how to handle prisoners. They did this to avoid internal conflicts. After plundering a ship, they would distribute the loot based on the crew's different roles. They even had an insurance system. For example, losing a hand could be compensated with 500 gold coins. Pirate clothes. How did pirates actually dress for their demanding life at sea? Their clothing was all about practicality. They lived in knee-length breeches, which were perfect for wading ashore and allowed for maximum movement during work and battle. Up top, they almost always wore a loose linen shirt. It was breathable, quick-drying, and gave them complete freedom to move. On their feet, you'd find flat-soled shoes rather than heavy boots. These were lightweight, slip-resistant on wet decks, and dried quickly if they got soaked. And on their heads, the most common item was a simple bandana. This versatile piece of cloth protected them from the harsh sun, absorbed sweat, and most importantly, kept their hair tied back and safe from getting caught in ropes and equipment. The famous tricorn hat? That was usually reserved for captains and worn on formal occasions, acting more as a symbol of their status and wealth than everyday work gear. Brand loyalty? So you think pirates just attacked any ship they stumbled upon? Nothing could be further from the truth. In reality, they were shrewd strategists, carefully calculating their risks and rewards. Their golden rule was simple. Always target high reward, low risk prey. A heavily armed warship was a dangerous gamble, but a wealthy, lightly armed merchant ship? That was the perfect business opportunity. In fact, many pirates weren't even true outlaws. They operated with official letters of marque from their government, legally authorizing them to attack and plunder rival nations' ships. For them, piracy was a patriotic duty. So, forget the idea of mindless violence. Pirate bury treasure? Let's be honest, when you think of pirates, you immediately picture a treasure map with a big X marking the spot, right? Well, I'm here to shatter that illusion. The truth is, historical pirates almost never buried their treasure. It's one of the biggest myths about them. Why? Because they were the ultimate live-for-today spenders. The moment they got their hands on loot, their first instinct was to split it up and head to the nearest port to spend it all on rum, gambling, and other pleasures. Think about it from their perspective. Burying treasure on a remote island was incredibly risky. How could they be sure they'd ever come back for it? Or that someone else wouldn't find it? They were practical realists, not romantic adventurers. Now, you might have heard of Captain Kidd, who is the famous exception that proves the rule. Yes, he did bury some treasure, but he didn't do it for fun or for a future adventure. He did it for one simple, desperate reason: to use it as a bargaining chip to save his own skin and try to negotiate a pardon. So, the classic image of a pirate burying his chest of gold? It's a fantastic story, but in reality, pirates were far too practical for that. Pirate weapon. Forget everything you've seen in the movies. A pirate's choice of weapons was governed by one ruthless principle: maximum damage in minimum time. Their absolute workhorse was the cutlass. On a cramped, rocking ship, this short, brutal blade was far more reliable and deadly than any elegant longsword. And this was their essential multi-tool, the boarding axe. It was perfectly designed to smash through an enemy ship's rigging and hull, or just as easily through bone. But the real professional's choice was carrying multiple preloaded pistols. In the chaos of a boarding action, at point-blank range, one shot was often all you got. Each pistol you carried was essentially a spare life. They even used early grenades to cause maximum chaos and fear before even setting foot on the enemy deck. So remember this: pirates weren't chivalrous knights or romantic duelists. They were brutal, pragmatic efficiency experts. Their arsenal was a testament to pure, unadulterated practicality. Rum and lemon. You've always seen pirates guzzling rum in the movies, and there's truth to that. But it wasn't just for partying. They drank it because fresh water would spoil quickly on long voyages, becoming undrinkable and dangerous. Alcohol, like rum, didn't breed bacteria, so mixing it with water was a practical way to stay hydrated. But a bigger threat than bad water was scurvy. Crewmen would suffer from bleeding gums, weakness, and could eventually die from a simple lack of vitamin C. The brilliant life-saving solution they discovered? Lemon juice. Smart pirate captains ensured a supply of citrus to keep their crew healthy and fighting fit. They were practically ahead of their time in naval medicine. So, in the end, the rum wasn't just for revelry, and the lemons were more than just a snack. They were essential life-saving tools in a pirate's survival kit.